Hey everybody, I'm Tommy, and this is the Lifeboat. What's happening? I haven't I haven't done a Diddy show in a while, and there's a good reason for that. Uh, to be really honest with you, this is a subject matter that is it's getting disgusting, and I talked about this the very first time that I came on and did a show about Sean Combs. I said, I'm doing this show because this is going to blow up into the biggest you know what show you've ever seen in your life. Probably remember that conversation. I said, this is going to get really, really ugly. This is going to blow up and it's going to be disgusting. And I said at the time, it's going to be interesting to watch how it's different because there are going to be victims in this that are male and there are going to be victims in this that are female. Hello, Ann. I wanted people to pay attention to this because the way that male victims and female victims, blast from the past, good to see you, the way that they're treated is different. I think we can all agree on this. Teresa Baldessari, glad you're here. Hey, Kathy, off to teach. Be safe, please. Stay spirited. Good to see you. Hello, Virginia. How are you? Queen of Awkwardness. Good to see you. Men and women are treated differently as victims. However, they're both victims, right? I think we can agree on this. And I said, when we started talking about this, hello, Robin, I said, oh man, this is going to be ugly. And it's going to be particularly ugly for boys involved in this. Because we live in a society that is largely homophobic. And this sadly is a situation where we're spending too much time as a society talking about whether or not this dude's gay, right? Which doesn't have anything to do with this subject at all. The question becomes, is this dude a predator? And I think it's pretty obvious to everybody involved. Rexkin Messler, good to see you. I think it's pretty obvious to all parties involved. Hello, Miss Dragon. Good to see you. Franklin, glad you're here. This cat is a predator, and he's been a predator for decades, and he's taught his kids to be predators. Yeah, right. This is now a family affair. We're not talking about allegedly and things like that anymore. There's just way too much there, right? Way too much there. When you hear one person make a reference, or for a long time people have been whispering, but what have they been whispering about? The fact that he might be gay, or the fact that he throws these parties where guys are on the DL, right? Dudes are having sex with one another. That's been the discussion. Guess what? If guys want to have sex with one another, it's really none of our business, right? But the problem becomes he was drugging a bunch of people, right? And then filming them. Hey, midnight show. Arwa, good to see you. Glad you're here. Dennis from Boston. How are you, Dennis? But he's drugging people and filming them. We've gone over all of this. So why am I back talking about this today? Well, I'm back talking about it today because there are people in this involved in this now. And it started out feeling like Epstein, didn't it? Well, there's a list of all of these people that go to these parties, right? And they're trashing people for going to these parties. And now every video is a clickbait for who the next person that was at Diddy's parties, right? Ellen DeGeneres, you seen that one? They're trashing Elle or Ellen this morning. That's a terrible thing for someone to say, Body Illusion. You've more than once been called a. That's a terrible name. I'm not a fan. Back from the very sunny Canary Island. Wow, jealous. So we know that Little Rod has a lawsuit that came out, and there's a bunch of people that got named in it, right? A bunch of people. And we're seeing videos every 3 minutes, and we know the names of the people. I don't care if they want to trash Kevin Hart for being at these parties. He should get trashed, right? For real. That dude was laughing hysterically on film when he's joking about being in bed with Usher when Usher was a teenager, right? Kevin Hart's falling over laughing like the inside joke shouldn't have been said out loud. Funnier than hell. He's scared now, right? He was at a bunch of these parties. There's a bunch of people now that are starting to go, oh no, man, I was there, right? And that has that Epstein feel to it, yeah? We start to feel that. The problem becomes people like Usher, right? Because we're talking a lot about that. And Bieber, right? And Cassie and Young Miami, is that her name? These people were victimized viciously by Sean Combs. And now they're getting victimized every day in the press. Thank you, Janet Castro. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. I saw a video yesterday where they were talking about the little blonde kid, right? That was a rock star that went to Diddy camp. In this video, they're purportedly showing him, and I had seen the video a long time ago. And the video a long time ago was basically giving the kid crap because they said in the video he was snorting blow, right? That in the video he was in a nightclub. Keep in mind, he's about 13, right? But he's in a nightclub and he's bending down doing a rail. That's what it looked like to me. That's what I remember seeing it the first time and thinking to myself, that kid's really young, right? To be in a nightclub and to be snorting blow, he's really young. Now that video is making the rounds again, and the gentleman who is in the photo is a former football player. But now what they're saying is he wasn't snorting a rail. He was performing fellatio on this football player, right? And there are, I counted 6 videos, right, that are showing the same clip of film and commenting on how wet his mouth is when he's coming up. And if that coincides with somebody that might be snorting blow. This is a 13-year-old or 14-year-old boy that they're speculating and showing videos of. I can't imagine what's going on in that kid's head. Can you imagine, seriously, being the victims of this scumbag? Can you imagine going through this again? Honest to God in heaven. I mean, I sit there and I think, you got to be kidding. And it is a industry now. Make no mistake. Cranking out Diddy filth, right, is a machine. It is a machine. The speed at which these videos are going up. And I want to tell you something. They don't have to be true. They don't have to be true. They just have to be salacious. And guess what? Everybody got the same tea, right? Everybody's got the same information. So they got to do something to hook you. And just read the thumbnails and it would make you sick. And if you're doing something under the guise of Sean Combs is a scumbag, I get it. I think he's a scumbag. I'm not going to show you any videos of teenagers in this video, right? I talked to Calhoun before I went live. He said, do you want anything? I said, no, no. And if what we all think happened, then what we're looking at for all intents and purposes is low rent, you know what? Yeah, the stuff they put people in prison for having on their phones, right? Seriously. I mean, we're not that kind of, I don't need to see them either, Shannon. God bless you. This kind of voyeurism borders on what ought to be illegal. Right? For real. It's disgusting and it's infuriating. It is. Susie Q nailed it, man. This is sick. And I want to tell you something. The parties that be in this thing, this is not your average, everyday, run-of-the-mill sickos, right? These are sickos who have a machine behind them, right? You got $1 billion. You can put out a lot of social media. If you don't think that this cat's doing everything within his power to trash the victims, right? And we could keep talking. Those of you who have been following this, you know how many more names we could be throwing out right now, right? There's audio apparently of Mr. Combs and Meek Mills. You guys probably have heard that audio. If you've done any kind of deep dive on this, you probably heard that audio. It's porn. I mean, that's what the audio is. It's just pornography, straight up. I mean, it's two people having sex on an audio. I don't know how the hell you could tell who that is. But boy, oh boy, if you're Meek, you're having a bad day, aren't you? Wow, Dusty Rhymes. Dusty Rhymes says the Bay City Rollers manager got away with this stuff decades ago. Their manager got away with everything, and 50 years later, nothing has changed. That's horrible. I remember that. That band. Saturday night, SATU, the Bay City Rollers. Good Lord. Charlotte, there's some truth to this, isn't there? Right? There's some truth to this. Money and power makes sick people more sick. Yeah, well, and all of a sudden, right? And all of a sudden, this is really popular stuff. You know what, Mira dear? It makes you wonder. Honestly, it makes you wonder. I mean, did he? I don't know. But I'll tell you something. They've got a media machine. There are if you've ever gone down this rabbit hole, you know that there's a DJ he wanted fired, made a phone call and said, when I get to New York, if that woman is still working, right, gone. Wendy Williams, right? Isn't that her name? It is a bone chilling audio clip. What you know is this. Deal, his bodyguard, his former bodyguard, right? Everybody they interview will say to you, the bottles were marked. You knew which bottles to drink from. There's nobody that does not back up that. You got to be careful what bottle you drink out of. There you go. It's done. There's nothing left, right? There's nothing left. And I think that this is something that they counted on, right? That boys and men are not likely to speak about what happened to them, number one, right? And number two, if you believe the stuff that people are talking, this was tied to you being a success. You want a career, right? You want to be a success. Here's what you're going to do, right? So you can't consent if you're not 18. But if you're 22 and the person who's standing in the room with you is saying millions of dollars in a career, or I bury your skill and no one ever sees you again. I make a phone call and nobody will ever give you a contract. Well, that's not consent either. Right? God bless the people that turned around and walked away. God bless them. But I don't judge the ones that didn't. I don't understand. I thank God I've never, ever had to have been in a situation like that. Right? Thank God. Oh, yeah, Shannon. So premeditated. Every single thing that this dude did. They talked about the number of cameras and all of the stuff that they've been pulling out of this dude's place on those raids. As there was a lot of stuff that is recorded. And I am a proud tinfoil hat wearing dude. Tell you straight out, I am absolutely not somebody that does not think we're that our legal system is the most crooked legal system on planet Earth, and a cat with $1 billion can buy a whole lot of justice. Right? We saw what OJ's money bought. Right? Dead. Right, recently, but Denzel Washington knew to leave before the late night party started. That clip of film you're referring to, I love this boat, is actually really something to see, isn't it? It says a lot. It really does. The way that he leaves would lead you to believe that he didn't want to be there anymore at all. Right? Like that's a disturbing. I mean, this is Sodom and Gomorrah. And again, I don't give a crap. I don't want to go to a party, walk in and see a guy and a girl having sex when I walk into a party. It's not something I want to walk into. Not my kind of party. I guess I'm old, man, but it's not my kind of party. But apparently that was happening everywhere. Heterosex, homosexual sex, everything in between. Great. The problem becomes a lot of people at those parties, number one, hadn't graduated high school yet. And number two, if you have two different sets of drinks, right, then you are you know what you are, right? You're just another masterson. But this dude, I mean, spiking an entire party, right? All the booze at the party. His bodyguard, let's be really honest too, though. Even his bodyguard, who I happen to believe, yeah, the R word, thank you, Shannon. I happen to believe his bodyguard. I really do. I think he's a very credible cat. But the longer you watch him, right, more comes out, more comes out, more comes out. We gather speed all the time. When things start going bad, they start going bad fast, right? And then it becomes really difficult. Miradira, correct. Then it becomes very difficult to separate fact from fiction, right? Yes. There were rumors about Depp hiring a PR team. I would be shocked if he didn't hire a PR team. I promise you, I'd be blown away, right? I know a guy with an ankle monitor because his dad is wealthy instead of being in jail for life. Money buys a completely different legal system. I'm telling you that right now, right? Money buys a completely different legal system. The Sam Bankman-Fried, right? He's got 25 years in prison, right? He was allowed to be out on bail, right, for the entire time until it was time to go to prison, which means he was able to raise what, $500 million or whatever they needed, hundreds of millions of dollars. Do you know I didn't get a bail? They said no bail. It says in the Constitution everyone is entitled to one. They don't do it. The feds all the time, they just go, yeah, we're not setting the bail on this. No bail. No bail. No bail. I owned a home in the town that I lived in. I was married to an officer of the court. Yeah. I was married to an attorney. I owned a home in the town. I had been in that town for 20 years. I had family. I had a mother and a father that lived in that town, right? My mother and father-in-law lived in that town. My wife, I had a brother and sister who lived in that town. Like, I had more ties to the community than anybody in history. And they just said, no, we're not even going to do it. And it happens all of the time. It's a completely different tiered system. I promise you, right? Total Jersey. Yeah, mad respect. It is not an easy thing to talk about. There was a comment that I read a moment ago that said apparently, Bieber was a victim. Yeah, no question. And it's a whole lot worse than we think it is. And you know what? I'm cool with saying it's a whole lot worse than we think it is. I don't need to see video of it. I don't need to you know what I mean? And you can't, deep dive in this. I was talking to my kid about it. Calhoun and I were talking because I've been working on this thing for days. And it's product review. Strawberry protein balls are tasty. Excellent, Miss Dragon. They've changed my life. Those happen to be my favorite. The strawberry ones are fantastic. The thing with this guy, it's depressing to go down the rabbit hole, and the victims are being re-victimized again and again and again and again and again, and it's getting worse and it's getting worse and it's going to get worse. And you know what's going to happen? Huh? We're going to end up somewhere down the road going, I can't believe they took their life. Right? That's what's going to happen. How much do you think a person can take? A totally Jersey. Whether you speak up or not, we love you. We're glad you're here. Every once in a while, throw us a wave, but we're glad you're here. And that's to everybody. If you're not, if you're someone that speaks up a little less frequently, that's all good too. We're glad you're here. Shannon Smith says we always revictimize the victims. It's the American way. And I would love to disagree with you, but I can't. I would love to disagree with you. And this thing is fantastic for getting the truth out, because very often the big media isn't going to tell you the truth, right? They're not, because there are agendas. If you own a news program, I got news for you. You're selling advertising. No matter what anybody tells you, you're selling advertising. Your job is not to report news. Your job is to sell advertising, right? So for that reason, sometimes the news gets a little bent depending on who's paying, right? It's pretty messed up. It's why 90% of the people in this country think that the news can't be trusted. The trouble is, as much as this allows people to come on and talk about some really, stuff that is going to get ignored, it also allows people to come on and, there are videos out there there are thumbnails out that when you look at, they're so badly photoshopped, it's horrific. But there are pictures of two men kissing, right? Because anybody that they could possibly get and put into a lip lock with Diddy, going to get somebody to click on that. And that's really where we're at. Tiff, tiff. That's really the question, isn't it? Tiffy Tiff says, hey, I just want to know when he's going to jail and how long it's going to take. I'm disturbed at how long it's taking. That said, it's not unheard of. This is not at all unheard of when there is a lot of media to go through. And Tiffy Tiff, there's a lot of media to go through on this, right? They're going to be going through it for a hot minute, right? AZ Dub, they're going to be going through this for a hot minute. And I think that the other thing, and this is completely 100% speculation, right? This is not something that, I'm getting from anybody else. And your lawyer friend, Zach, would probably be able to answer this better than I could. Because again, this is speculation. But I think part of it has got to be they're saying $1 billion. This dude's got $1 billion. And we're not just going after him. When this thing starts doing this, there are a lot of really big names who are going to be able to start really paying some big attorneys. And I think that what they're trying to do is get all of their ducks in a row. And Love This Boat was saying, I wouldn't doubt. Yeah, no, I think that, yeah, Kathy, good Lord, can you imagine the sexually transmitted diseases? You're not the first person that said that. Because that has occurred to me. He's got more than $1 billion, Tampa Jim. He does. And yeah. Now, Tiffy Tiff, I would think if they found at least one thing right away, they would arrest him and then look for the rest. The reason that they don't do that, right? Because that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? It really does. If you think about what Tiffy Tiff just said, that makes more sense than anything until you think about criminals, right? Because here's how that works. The second you arrest him, no one on earth is going to talk to that cat again, right? A very funny thing happens once you're arrested. Even now, there are people that are going, I'm not talking to that. I don't want to be anywhere near this fool. A lot of times, the reason they don't start arresting people is because they're waiting for them to start devouring each other. There are people who are involved in this that are involved in this, right? For real. This is pretty sick stuff. Hey, Micah, if that's true, but breaking something here that I can't verify before you say it, I'll tell you something. I am not a fan of that man, right? That man worked for the Sacklers, and I am not a fan of him, but I'm not going to read that out until I know that that's a fact. And if it is, I'll do some rants on it. I assure you. But I have gone on in the past and read stuff to find out that it was a clickbait. Not saying that you did it, but sometimes, like for instance, the number of people that I have seen kissing Diddy in photoed pictures in the last 24 hours are ridiculous. Surviving together. Have a great day. This is a situation that is going to get uglier and uglier and uglier. Joanne Rice says, my understanding is he's got plenty of money to fight the charges, so the government is getting their ducks in a row. I think that there is a lot of truth to that. I really do. I also think that they're waiting to watch them devour each other. Not everybody at that party is a victim. You feel me? Not everybody at that party is a victim. There are people who go to those parties because they're predators. They're there to victimize other people, right? So what you got to realize is that as you start to watch these videos to get Sean Combs, now you got a 6'4" tall football player who might be in a video with an underage boy. Well, now you understand that this could be, it's terrifying, right? Just how big this is, this could get. How big does this web crawl out to? That's the question. Because these parties, right? Every single Sunday, these go on. This is not, right? No matter what happens, the good news is that Diddy's reputation is done. He's known public pig. Teresa Baldessari. That sounds great, because he is. He's a pig. And I'm glad that his reputation took a hit. However, a year ago, we were talking about Kanye West and the horrific things he was saying about Jews, right? That's what was in the news a year ago right now. He was really saying some crazy stuff and doing some, he was done. No one was ever going to deal with him. He lost that contract with Adidas, and he has got a song in the top 5 right now, right? He's got a song in the top 5 at that. So we don't, unfortunately, we don't have long memories. As a society, we do not have long memories. We watched, what was that freak? R. Kelly. People knew what was going on with R. Kelly for a long, long time, right? People have known what has been going on with Diddy for a long, long time. Dennis from Boston says, big wallet, big payoffs. Kathy says, some politicians are going to be falling out of that closet too. Yeah, and a couple of ministers. That said, here's the other thing, right? Yeah, there are payoffs involved in this, and there are other people who are going to catch charges. Brandon, well done, my brother. 4 weeks sober today. You know what? You get a Rachel because the captain is actually, so you get a Rachel because the Molesky Trophy resides with the captain, where it should now. But congratulations, my brother. I'm proud of you. That is fantastic. 4 weeks, man. In fact, and 5 weeks working out. If you keep working out, Brandon, and this is not something that's new with you, right? It's not something that's new with anybody, by the way. But when you start implementing good habits at the same time that you're getting rid of bad habits, really good things happen, right? You find yourself, at the 6 month mark going, what the hell happened? Then you find yourself at the 3 year mark going, what the hell happened? And you know what? A lot of people are proud of you, brother. Or a lot of people are proud of you, and that is a cool thing. Is it not? Is it not? 4 weeks is great, man. Congratulations, dude. Super, super proud of you. This stuff has been going on for a really long time. There are people involved who have a vested interest in protecting this engine, right? You know who Jaguar is? The girl does a ton of stuff and has a lot of intimate knowledge about everything that is going on. But she talked about Combs being very, very open and honest about trying to kill talent. That the purpose of Bad Boy Records was to find people that did not have talent. Because people with talent made demands, and people with talent could leave you, and people with talent. But if you could find people that didn't have talent and then make them famous, you would own them. whether or not that panned out, whether or not, if that was said out loud, you have any idea how evil a human being we're talking about? For real. The fact that he was going out on these boats, essaying women who he had drugged and teaching his kids to do the same thing, there's no punishment that fits this crime. There's not. It would be really fantastic if he got to prison and the boys got a hold of him. Guess what? That ain't going to happen. It's not. I think even if the guy gets time, he's not going to do hard prison time. He's not. He's not. It's awful to say that, but it's the truth. Celebrity will carry the day for that dude, and I say that because I have seen celebrity. I've seen celebrity hip hop guys in prison. I've been in at the same time as some of them were, and those cats on messed up charges were able to walk around and be on yards, and it ain't our car, right? It's got nothing to do with me. But I don't think Diddy would do tough time. I'm just sorry, but that's a sad thing to say, but it's the truth. And if there's any convicts in here that did time that want to tell me that they disagree, I'd be interesting to to hear the rationale behind it. But I don't see this guy doing hard time. I really don't. I also don't see him doing time. Period. I hate to say that, but I don't. Let's talk about the Sacklers, right? They killed 900 million people. When you do what you do on a massive scale, you got a way better chance of getting away with it than if you just go out and kill one person, right? And you did it with fent, you're going to go to prison. If you are the people that started that entire thing, right? They're going to let you keep $6 billion after killing 900 million people. They're going to let you keep half, a little less, and then half of what you made. Diddy is going to need detox when he gets to prison. He is absolutely going to need detox. Diddy has been on opiates forever. Watch that dude in interviews. And the affectations of opiate addiction are rampant, right? And it becomes super obvious. Like if you ever watch some of the shows that they have shows where they get the people on the show drunk, right? Like that's part of the show. Everybody gets loaded and they have 3 or 4 drinks and it lowers the inhibitions and then people start saying crazy stuff. I'm sure you've seen this. This is a genre these days. That boy loses it real quick. And the reason he loses it real quick is because he's got a ton of dope in his system, right? Like you can drink, but try drinking with 160 milligrams of OxyContin in your body, right? It's not quite the same thing. And he starts saying really crazy stuff. That's when he's at his most interesting, by the way. Robin Bliss says, people like to point to the picture of Prince Harry with Diddy, but nobody points out that on the other side of Harry is his brother, Prince William. I did not know that. I did not know that, Robin Bliss. Shannon Smith says, yeah. Prince William was in the photo too. I did not know that. I do know that there are a bunch of pictures of Harry. Apparently, he went to these parties more often than not, and apparently, so did Ellen DeGeneres. She was super into those parties. How about that? The interview with Jimmy Kimmel, the most guilty face. Very interesting, Millie. In an interview that he did with Jimmy Kimmel kind of put him on the spot. And, sort of like as much on the spot as you're going to, but he asked about the parties and the rumors and, Shannon, I'm not familiar with that one then. She said, this photo looks like it was an official, it was on official duty. Oh, I did not know. That one I don't think I've seen. Blessed to Crochet says it goes back to the amount of money you have. The sad thing is young kids are looking up to these people and not necessarily seeing the pitfalls of fame. You know what? It's a great comment. It is a great comment. Do you know that there are people that I did time with who intentionally went to prison because it was going to help their rap career? I'm not making this up. Like and the one that people do, they rob banks. They will go out and they will do a bank robbery, because if you do a bank robbery and you do it without a gun, they know that they can go in there and catch them 5 years, and that will be just enough street cred, right? I remember that. See, this is I remember that Jimmy Savile had connections to the Royals, Prince Charles for sure. That was a sick human being too, right? One of the worst that ever lived. You know what? America is not alone in letting things go on way longer than it should, right? I mean, Gary Glitter, Jimmy, and then there was another too that comes to mind, but it happens. It happens in a lot of places. Unfortunately, photos don't have the value that they use. Peter Nygaard, Miss Dragon. You know what? Miss Dragon is one of those people, right? It's pretty amazing because she looks considerably younger than I am, but we happen to be pretty close to the same age, and it's unique that very, very similar life experiences, very similar sense of humor. I get a kick out of Miss Dragon. Yeah, but yes, that was the name I was looking for, Miss Dragon, and I probably should have guessed that you were going to be the one to spit that out. We could restart Tommy Bird. Hey, Tommy, you're on the boat. Yes, Shannon Smith. I did not know that he went to morgues. Good Lord in heaven, is that true? Wow, I did not know that, Shannon Smith. I did not know that. That is disturbing as hell, man. Good God, that is disturbing as hell. That's real. Wow. Yeesh. Paula Puffer, I have not seen the piece that she's done. She is. I've always been a big fan of hers. I think she's fascinating. Where is this on a podcast? Where do you find her? Oh God, Shannon. He had keys to all parts of the hospital. Good Lord in heaven. That is so disturbing. That really is. That is just rotten. Yeah, Paul, I would like to check that out. I really would. The Nickelodeon stuff. We're seeing, I hope that we're seeing the dismantling of industries that, thank you, Tamber. I think we're seeing the dismantling, or at least the beginnings of the dismantling of industries that victimize people as part of the business. The record industry has been doing this forever. I was watching when I was deep diving this stuff, there was Faith Evans was talking about, she sang on a track and went over, you may have seen this, and went over to get paid. And they said, oh yeah, you got to come back to the hotel room. And when she went back to the hotel room to get paid, there was about, 9 guys in that room, and one of them was the person that she had been performing for, who said, yeah, if you want that, the 25 grand, you're also going to need to perform some other kind of way. And she turned around, walked out and said, go ahead and keep that. I don't need to get paid for that track. But you know what? It's a pretty sick freaking world. It's good to see you, Tommy Bird, man. The promotion is good. I'm working on me, and it is a good thing. I'm working on me. I'm also working on 2 or 3 things that I never had the time to do, right? That when they get rolled out, you're literally just going to go, good God, you got to be kidding. We've got some really cool stuff that we're going to be able to do on the boat because of the amount of time that has been freed up for me by my son. And I love all of you for supporting Calhoun the way that you have. You know what? The old casting couch, says Miss Dragon. You know what? It's the old casting couch, right? It really is. It's the old casting couch. Mira, thank you for helping Lori. Lori, I'm so bad at it, but I know that it's you look in the about section and it'll say protein balls and there's the link there. My heart breaks for Bieber when I see the video of him as a vulnerable 14-year-old child being groomed by Diddy with expensive cars and posh existence right in front of us. Stop looking, because the next videos you see are going to make you 40 times more disturbed than that one is, right? Looking at that 14-year-old boy in a nightclub, right? Hanging out with professional athletes, whatever he was doing in that nightclub, there was something wrong with, right? Whether he was being SA'd, which is what it very well looks like was happening, or the better of the possibilities is that he's a 14-year-old boy snorting cocaine in a nightclub in New York. Wow, that's a much better. How great is life when that's the better of the options, right? The fact that we live in a society where I don't care who you are. When you get to the door, they don't go, he's 14, right? I don't care if your dad's the president. You're 14. You can't go in a nightclub, right? It's 2:00 in the friggin' morning. You're 14. Why are you in a nightclub? Me too, Shannon. God, me too. I'd much rather have him snorting drugs. When we know he did, right? He's been very open and honest about his drug use. And, you know, it makes perfect sense to me that he struggled with addiction issues. It wouldn't have made sense if he didn't, honestly. Yeah, Usher was also thrown into that world as well. Yep. Yeah, Carol, it's disturbing as hell, man. Has almost the old boat feeling. You know what, Tommy? You're not the first person to say that, man. You know, you're not the first person to say that it really has that feel of the old days of the boat. It makes a lot of sense, right? That's so cool, though. Puts a smile on my face, I promise you. Ira says, I was in a nightclub once when I was 9 in the early 90s. God bless you. You should have never been in a nightclub at 9. You just shouldn't, right? Once your eyes are open to what has been going on, you cannot close them and you cannot unsee what you saw. Boom. Boom. Right? Boom. There's no not knowing now. We now know that in that industry, it is just done, right? The artists are there to abuse. You think to yourself, rock stars. Bars and the clubs that Bieber were in, really dark. A lot of women pretty much naked, dancing, drugs being snorted on the table. I remember being in restaurants that had bars in them as a kid. I had an uncle who had a very close friend that ran a bunch of them. But nightclubs, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a different environment. You wouldn't see a family in there eating at the same time, right? It would seem pretty wildly out of place. Lori Hart, thank you, and thank you for the attempt of trying to type. It's appreciated. Yeah, Shannon, I think you were probably in a nicer kind of a place than that where he was. I mean, honestly, we're talking about. Sadly, I can't remember the name of the club, because if I said it, most of you would, or at least some of you would go, oh, because it's a very well-known nightclub. But by the time the kid was 16, he was in all of them. When I was 16, a friend's mom took a bunch of us to karaoke at a local Vermont bar on a Saturday night. Our parents were not pleased when they found out. VT Kitten. I'm not surprised. Such a small town. I mean, such a small state. I may have been at that bar. I don't think you can get a real appreciation for just how teeny that state is. Great state, though. Absolutely beautiful. Smells like Drew Barrymore and the Phillips gal. You know what? Hey, Kenneth. Yeah. Does everybody get that reference? Is a great one. Mackenzie, I think, right? Was it, is it Mackenzie Phillips? Somebody help me, man. Is it Mackenzie Phillips? What's the name of the, I think it's Mackenzie, but Drew Barrymore. Yeah. Drew Barrymore was smoking crack at 12, you know, smoking crack at 12. You know, yes, thank you, Mackenzie. And Mackenzie, look at that, made alive. Kristen Melinda. Well, it's about time. No, I'm just kidding. We're glad you're here. Blast from the past. Yes, thank you. It was Mackenzie Phillips. You know, Mamas and the Papas. You know, very, very tough. It's a difficult thing when you have everything, right? And yeah, Drew's story. Drew is still growing, and Drew is amazing. But she was royalty, right? I mean, in Hollywood, the Barrymores. I mean, Lionel Barrymore, you know, was the first rock star. He was the first Hollywood star, right? I mean, she literally came from royalty as far as Hollywood goes. And you know, when she wins awards, she always gets up and goes, "Oh, it's like a family reunion." Oh, squirrel nut. Squirrel knocked the basket down. Come here, kitty. Come here. Hold on one second. You know how cats get. Whoa, you're such a good girl. Come here. They get embarrassed, and then they get mad at you. I don't want her thinking I'm laughing at her because she gets really embarrassed. You have cats like that? Never laugh at your feline if something bad happens. They take it very personally, for real. Cats, if you laugh at a kitty when they have a bad experience, you will get ignored or worse. Yeah, get up here. Who's a good girl? He's a good kitty. Really is a good cat too. Nope, she just dropped right on her side. It is absolutely my fault she did that. Make no mistake. No, yeah, there's no. See, DeAudrey Gore gets it. Cats do not like me. I never do it. I never do it. And I scold and chastise people that do, because you do. It's one of those things that if you don't know, that's why cat videos are so much fun, because you can look at a cat video and laugh at it and you're not bumming out the cat. She was partying at 54 at age 11. At Studio 54. Yeah. Same stuff, different decade. Yep. She was at Studio 54 at age 11. Can you imagine? I mean, for real. And you're absolutely right. It is the exact same situation, right? What's the difference? Names of the clubs, right? Names of the clubs. But Drew was going through the same kinds of stuff, right? And you know what? So was everybody else. There are so many child actors who have said, you know, that this is what they went through. It is absolutely an industry that victimizes, right, the people who get famous. It's bizarre, because you think about, oh man, you know, you'd like to be rich, you'd like to be famous, and you just realize that, you know what? Boy, do they pay for that. There are so many people that pay everything for it. You know what? What a great comment. What a great comment. Awful stage moms used to be considered scum, but parents do it with kids on YouTube all the time, and they burn out just as fast. Hell hath no fury. I agree with you, Hell. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I have always been, I've tried to always be kind of hyper focused about that. You know, Spanx Calhoun was very vocal about wanting to do what he did. My daughter, I refuse to let my daughter's face be seen on YouTube, and my daughter's an adult. You know what I mean? She's an adult. She's a grown lady, but I don't want any of I don't want any of the crap that I influencer parents live the van lifers, etc. Oh, like the yeah, scare you. Um, the the moms that spend all day filming their kids and for clicks, they're terrifying human beings. I'm sorry, they're terrifying human beings. I cannot imagine putting your kids through that. You know the woman we talked about, Laura, Ruby Frankie, right? If you entered her daughter, and her daughter was joking about this, but if you entered like the first four letters of her daughter's name, it would finish out the rest of the sentence, right? And the rest of the sentence was had her period. Can you imagine enduring that as a child? I mean, good God, can you imagine? Um, you know what, Timber, you have a great partner, right? How does that not make you cry? You know what? Good for you, right? Good for you. And thank God and God bless. My mom had a stage mom phase, but got out of it real quick when I told her I was only going to be doing it for me. Fantastic. Hey, Archie's mom. Good to see you. Um, yeah, Timber. I would say he's a keeper. At least that's a good start, you know, for real. Yeah, these kids with when they grow up will end up suing their parents. In a lot of cases, the damage that's done is so extreme. I mean, you look at the girl from Nickelodeon. When the title of your book is "I'm glad my mother's died," that pretty much says it all, right? I'm glad my mother died is a pretty rugged name for a book. Um, you really, really got to be unhappy. Influencer parents are the stage moms of the modern day, but their kids have much fewer protections. Interesting, Kestrel. Pretty damn astute, too, right? I think that's kind of an important point here. There are a lot less protections, right? The internet, yeah, at least the stage mom, was present and in the moment. And this cyber thing, you don't know. I wouldn't want, yeah, it's just tough. It's just tough, right? She is courageous. Yeah, she's holding her mom's urn. She is incredibly courageous. I have not bought the book yet, Stay Spiria. I wanted to do it on the last airplane ride, but I didn't get it before I went, and I was kind of hoping it was going to be in the Hudsons in there, but it wasn't. There's sorry, hold on. Wharton Fissel, what's happening, man? Good to see you. Good to see you, Wharton. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Avina Sativa, good to see you. Hey, Brazy, what's happening? Um, the worst is bath time videos and that kind of content. Straight to jail. I don't understand how these moms are allowed to just walk about caring for minors. It's what, and again, it gets down to stupidity. It really does. You always wonder what happened to John Benet Ramsey, huh? You know what? So John Benet Ramsey's mother has passed away. She's no longer with us. The father is still alive, and you know what? He that there's always been that kind of specter of suspicion that has hung over his head and the family's head. Just recently, um, just recently, some stuff has come out that, you know what? I'm sorry, people. Hold on one second. As much as I love the internet, it is the largest uncontrolled experiment in history. Boy, you ain't kidding, right? And it's it's uncontrolled, and the level of control that is there, right? Who's controlling it, right? It's pretty terrifying. Um, I saw some YouTube videos where they claimed Diddy was going around in sets of Nickelodeon shows. No, absolutely no two ways about it. He was on several Nickelodeon shows. There's a disturbing clip of film, like looking back, hindsight being 2020. There's a clip of film where he tells these kids to put a remote control helicopter down his pants. Right, he's gonna with the. It's just, I mean, a stupid little, but yeah, no, he spent some time around those sets to be sure. The interesting thing about the John Bonet, and I probably should do a deep dive on it, honestly, but the the unusual thing recently, there has been unearthed the fact that there had been another murder that that had taken place that was nearby, and at the time, for whatever reason, it was ignored. But it really looks like that was a horrifically botched investigation, unfortunately. Robin Bliss says Corey Feldman. I believe Feldman was essayed. I believe everything that he says about that. And that is unfortunate. It really is. And I feel bad for the guy for that. I do. I can't stop picking on him about what a bad entertainer he is musically. I wish I could, but I'm separating the two, right? I feel horrible for what happened to him in Hollywood. I really do. But he should not continue to victimize people with his music. Tommy, it's sunshine in Northwest Oregon. Great day. I prepare the day with my words, my mindset, and get going with it. I love it, Wharton. Good for you, man. One thing to watch out for with all of the Diddy takedown is the phrase controlled opposition. Um, Here's my thing, right? Here's my thing. I think that we need to be better than him, right? We need to be better than Diddy. Shouldn't be hard, right? Well, then let's not victimize anybody that he already victimized. So if you see a video and it's purported to tell you that it's Justin Bieber performing fellatio on a grown man, maybe don't give that a click. Okay? If by some chance that video is real, then what are you watching? Huh? Honestly, what are you watching? Nothing you'd ever want anyone in the world to know you were watching, right? I don't think there's anybody on planet Earth you would want thinking you were looking at Justin Bieber, perhaps with a grown man, right? Doing something intimate. I can't imagine anybody on Earth wants that on their phone. Yet there are videos out there, and that's going to be the headline of them. Let's be better than that, right? Let's not keep the victimization going because it's bad form. That's my personal opinion, and that's all I got to say about that. And this right cheer, that is a queen in a basket. Lori Hart, I appreciate that. I start deep diving and I come across stuff that, yes, they use their victims to cover up more victimizing. Yeah, absolutely. And the number of people who are being blackmailed currently, right? There's a lot. It's going to blow up, people. This is going to get so ugly. Thank you for all the support, people. Thank you for stopping by and seeing me. It's fun to see all of you. I got a couple of other things. I got some other shows we're going to be putting up here this week. So I will see all of you on the next one. All right. And Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the next one was. All of those documentaries being done trauma corn or trauma porn. Oh yeah, got you. Yeah, the the P word. If you say that here, I do think they get dicey about that. See what I'm doing to my kids' channel? What the heck's wrong with me? All right, people. We'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.